If you feel like you know exactly what to do to lose the weight and keep it off, but are struggling to do so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the 5% Way podcast, where myself, registered dietitian Paul Salter, and my co-host, sustainable weight loss specialist Micheala Barsotti, have an impactful conversation focused on helping you uncover the root cause of the self-sabotaging behaviors holding you back from achieving sustainable weight loss. Your transformation begins from the inside out, and our purpose is to accelerate that progress by sharing practical strategies and need-to-know information to help you reclaim your confidence, control, and inner calm so that you can feel, look, and be your best. Hey, 5%er. Welcome back to another episode of the 5% Way podcast with your hosts, Paul Salter and Micheala Barsotti, who I am incredibly excited to further introduce on today's episode. She is a sustainable weight loss specialist and transformation coach within both the 5% Fundamentals program and our coveted 5% community. And I'm going to let Micheala talk about herself at great length today, and you're going to really get to know her. But I just wanted to share a few words about her as well before I hand the microphone over to her. And Micheala is someone I had the pleasure of actually working with a couple of years ago, and we built a phenomenal coaching first relationship before we started working together. And she really specializes in bringing out the absolute best in every single one of our members, and not to mention both myself as well as our other team member, Naomi, as well. And she does a delightful job helping every single person she interacts with truly see the best of themselves, see that potential, and then most importantly, realize that potential to the fullest. And I can tell you confidently that her passion is absolutely coaching. She has coached hundreds of men and women, both in the weight loss and fitness industries, helping them to experience remarkable transformations inside and out. Micheala, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited for this discussion.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Much overdue.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, we've been talking about it for a long time, so I'm glad it came together. And like I mentioned, this episode is really an opportunity to get to know you more. I'm sure I'm even going to learn a little bit, which I am excited about. And I'd love to really begin by you telling us, who the heck is Micheala? What's your background, your education? Who are you?
Sure. So I will say I am just an average girl who has a strong passion for health and fitness. And honestly, my passion started with learning about health and fitness for myself. And then over time, it's led me to where I am now, coaching others. So I started, I went to school for nutrition. After I graduated with my nutrition degree, I went on to get my personal training certification. From there, I have precision nutrition level 1 and level 2 certifications. So those are just more nutrition certifications. And I have worked, or I started, I guess, my career, I'd say, with Lifetime. So I worked for Lifetime just under 5 years. I was a personal trainer, nutrition coach, as well as I did a lot of group classes. And I started to really fall in love with the group classes, hence the love for the community. So that was really awesome to kind of see full circle where I'm at now, just, being involved with the community again. Definitely something I'm super passionate about.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, it just hit me right now, even though I knew all those facts about you, how interestingly similar our paths are. Because me, of course, going for my undergrad in nutrition as well, but I was a personal trainer. I was a group fitness instructor, and that's what really got me into the coaching realm of things. And yeah, I just actually connected those dots for the first time, how eerily similar our paths are. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me specifically more, like, what do you really give a fuck about that lights you up every day to really get up and serve other people at the level that you do?
I would say the biggest thing for me is I love helping women and men, but see what they're truly capable of. It's so easy to become a mom and just kind of forget your own worth almost, or, putting yourself first, or maybe you start a brand new career and you start pouring your heart and soul into that. And what starts happening is like, these other life responsibilities, they start taking priority, and we no longer make time to care for ourselves the way that we should. So I love helping people, guide them to reclaiming their life back almost, and like doing things for themselves so that they can truly be their best self. I know personally how much it's changed my own life, and that's what drives me every day to help others.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And one of the things I think you do such an excellent job is helping people re-normalize making themselves a priority, or re-normalizing and making it okay for people to view selfishness as a positive, because it ultimately helps them be better at being selfless, which is a lot easier said than done, as we both know, but you do a great job helping people have those connecting moments. And you threw me a softball here for a great segue into the next question I had for you, which is, tell us a little bit more about your own personal health and fitness journey. Where and why did you get started, and how did we get to where we are today?
Oof. All right. I'll try to keep this brief. So I started, I would say, this goes all the way back for me to my younger years. I was a competitive cheerleader for many years. I dabbled in all-star cheerleading, which is the competitive side. And if you know anything about the cheerleading world, there's a lot of emphasis on body image. So from a very young age, I was super focused on what I looked like. And I was a flyer growing up. So again, if you're not familiar with the terms, I was a top girl. I was in the air. Yes. And most of those girls are very petite. They're short and they're petite little girls. And I was never a petite girl. I've never had a weight loss problem, but I've always had a muscular build. So you wouldn't look at me and think that I was the top girl. Let's put it that way. And that was a huge insecurity of mine, because I just always wanted to be small. I wanted to be small and petite. That's what I wanted. So, I guess in my younger years, I didn't really know it was a big problem. It wasn't until, fast forward, I got into college and I started learning about nutrition, which was super fascinating to me. And I kind of took it and ran with it, but I went down the path of extremes, the all or nothing. I started to see what it was doing for me, and I loved it. I loved the results. And so I just went hard, and I didn't know how to, create balance in my life. So it was simply just, I was all in 110%, or I was completely off the rails because I had just drug myself to the point of exhaustion. And that went on for a long period of time. I would say, again, bringing back the insecurity of how I look, entering personal training world, it's like you have this strong pressure on yourself to look the part. So again, I always thought I had to hold myself to these high standards of looking a certain way. And I kind of had health all messed up, because health to me was just looking the part. And throughout my journey, I would say, in this time specifically, I was not healthy. I was sleeping terribly. I actually had acne for the first time, which is not normal for me. I lost my period at one point, which was a huge red flag. And that for me was the final straw, where I'm like, okay, so this is not right. I have big dreams to be a mom someday, and I know that you can't mess around with that.
Yeah.
So that was for me, like, when I realized that I was doing something wrong. And so I started working with coaches. I've worked with a handful of coaches. And I was really fascinated by like the online space. So I worked with quite a few online coaches, and I did some reverse dieting, and I tried to diet, but nothing was successful for me. I felt like I was working so hard and my results just weren't quite showing it. And I know people can probably relate to that. It's super frustrating when you feel like you're doing all the right things, but you're not seeing or like reaping the benefits on the outside. And yeah, I was kind of just at like my breaking point, and I guess that's kind of when I found you. So
fortunate timing.
Yeah. And I think what was really fascinating for me with you was like, you spoke to life after the diet. And that was like a huge light bulb moment for me, because I started to think like, I don't have a problem losing weight. I know what to do to lose weight, right? But I have a really hard problem or hard time with making this a lifestyle. It wasn't a sustainable lifestyle for myself. Although I lived it and breathed it, I wasn't happy. And that's kind of where I was at.
Yeah, it's interesting. It brings up a good parallel. You hear all these people who get rich and make so much money, but they're still incredibly unhappy, depressed, etc. And like the way I just thought about your wonderful description was like you were doing all of the right things, and on the outside you looked happy, confident, etc. But on the inside you were the opposite of those things, which I think so many people can relate to, myself included, for the longest time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it's wonderful to see, the progress you've made in such a, I say short, but it's really been 2 years at this point. And I think your biggest differentiator has been just your commitment to consistency. I feel like I noticed on several occasions while we were working in that coaching client relationship, as soon as you had that aha or that dot connecting moment, like you really did a great job implementing it to your lifestyle in a way that was sustainable. And you just slowly stacked one new habit on top of another to now, you not only eat, sleep, and breathe what it means to take care of yourself physically, but also emotionally, psychologically, behaviorally, and you're truly reaping the benefits, both inside and out, which is phenomenal to see, which is why you shine so brightly in every day, but also in the community in particular.
Yeah. And I would say too, having that accountability with you when I was going through that time in my poor relationship with food, it was really hard for me to trust the process, right? And I mean, so I had coaches in the past, and I mean, I'm sure they were great coaches, but they didn't connect with me on a level where I was able to fully trust them and kind of go all in. I don't know if it was just the timing or what, but when I started working with you, I told myself, and I remember I'm like, you were paying this guy to tell you what to do, just do it, like follow the plan. And that was the commitment I made to myself from the very beginning. And that's what I did. I just kept trusting you. When you first gave me that blueprint ever, and I saw how many carbs I was having after my post-workout meal, I almost had a heart attack. But I trusted it and I kept doing it. And, I just had all these wins stacking. I'm like, I feel so good. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing progress. And so, yeah, that's just it was really cool to see.
It was. I love that you shared the commitment you made to yourself. And I'll also add too, where you really shine was your communication, because like you didn't hold back from asking why to learn. And a good coach will always really listen to his or her client to make sure he or she fills the gaps of knowledge and helps them connect the dots. And like, you would send me lengthy email check-ins with, like, hey, I have questions about this. This is how I'm feeling. And like, to me, that lights me up. That makes me excited because it just exudes how much you care about yourself and your goals. So for those of you listening, and if you have a coach in any capacity, like it's 100% their responsibility to get the most out of you, but it's 100% your responsibility to communicate with them so that they can do their best work. So make sure you are communicating everything that needs to be communicated. There's no such thing as a silly question, a dumb feeling. If you need to quadruple check the amount of carbs you're having at your post-workout meal, absolutely do it so you feel comfortable with the long-term and the short-term plans in place.
Yeah. Because a lot of that can be scary. I know a lot of women in my position are likely, they were in the trap of or are in the trap of under eating, maybe over exercising. So when you hire a coach and they start telling you to do the opposite of what you're doing, that's very overwhelming. But if you understand why you're doing what you're doing, it opens a whole new door. It's like you can trust the process because you actually know why you're doing it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and a quick side note, I'll try not to get off on a tangent too much, but so working with so many people over the years, let's say for every 100 people that came to me wanting to lose weight, maybe 90 or 95 were actually like ready to start dieting. The other, 90 to 95 weren't ready to start dieting. Only about 5 to 10 people were. So everyone who wasn't ready really needed to spend time in what we, call our pre-diet maintenance phase. And I always had this templated email saved as a draft it became copy and paste. That was a lengthy, detailed explanation of why now's not the best time to diet. And I used to refine that sucker like every week because I just felt like I was breaking people's hearts when they sign up and pay all this money to lose weight. And I'm telling them, yeah, we're gonna diet at some point, just not for 4, 6, maybe 8 weeks. And I felt like I was crushing dreams and breaking hearts. So I had to learn to improve and clarify the communication to navigate that tough situation.
For sure.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a turn here to talk more about what you do as a part of the 5% Fundamentals program and community. But I want to keep the atmosphere light and the conversation fun and engaging here. So I'm going to come at you here with some rapid fire, what I'm going to call questions of fun to further get to know you a little bit. So first off, any pets?
Yes, a dog. He's my son, Tyson.
Tyson, the son. How old is Tyson?
He's going to be 5.
Wow. Okay. Peanut butter or almond butter?
Peanut butter all the way.
Good answer. Good answer. Wine or chocolate?
Chocolate, then wine.
Oh, good answer too. Spring or fall?
Fall.
YouTube or podcasts?
Podcasts.
Physical book or audio book?
I like both for different times. Physical book before bed, audio book when I'm on a walk with my dog.
Oh, I like that. And what are you currently listening to or reading?
I am currently reading, I'm rereading the Never Lose a Customer Again. So that was the book that you gifted to me.
Yeah, great book. And I'm currently reading a book called Outliers. Very fascinating. Favorite food?
Pizza.
I was going to guess pasta, but pizza's in that domain.
Pasta. Speaking to my Italian soul, I do
love
pasta.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Honestly, yes, I do love pasta.
And then dream vacation destination?
Hawaii, which I hope we go on our honeymoon.
Oh, wonderful. And when you're not eating or working out, where can we find you? What are you doing?
Likely just spending time outside. I love to be outside.
Awesome. Very good. Very, very good. So let's now transition to talking about what you do and where you shine brightest, like I mentioned, in the fundamentals program and the community. So, I'm going to let you take this one. What is it that you do?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I am a sustainable weight loss specialist. So what that means is within our community, I, obviously coach the members. I lead some of our team calls. I help to create helpful resources within the community. And I also play a large role in managing the community experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So Micheala is, if you're joining the community, the first person you're going to hear from is Micheala. She, just welcomes you with a big smile, sets up a call with you, gets to learn about you and really help you set up a plan of attack, a plan of success, if you will. And, as I joked with her before, I knew she might sell herself a little short. So I'll fill in the gaps here of all the wonderful things she does. But she's truly, the go-to expert and coach in our community. We work together very well to help every single member accomplish their goals. But she really goes a few steps above and beyond to really listen and meet every single member where he or she is at. And I think where you have the most fun, correct me if I'm wrong, particularly in the 5% community, is on our one-on-one office hour calls.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely a big part of it. I just love connecting one-on-one. One-on-one will always have a strong place in my heart. So yeah, I definitely love to just kind of get that time with each of our members.
Yeah, absolutely. And you truly make the most of it. That's where we get a lot of the positive feedback. And people showing up in my DMs in our community. Oh, I just got off a call with Micheala and it was so great, X, Y, and Z, or Micheala's wonderful. So it always brings a big smile to my face. And I'm curious to know, what excites you most about the new program we have just opened up here, the 5% Fundamentals program?
So much. So I would say, just going back to what I shared with you about my own journey, I think how common is it that, especially as women, we're unhappy with our bodies, or maybe we get back from a vacation and we're like, I'm not happy. I don't feel good. I'm starting to diet on Monday, right? That's so common. And unfortunately, that is not the way it works. And so many people just lack the education around how to truly diet. Dieting doesn't have to be a bad thing, and it doesn't, but we shouldn't spend our whole lives dieting. So it's understanding how to do it so that you don't really have to do it again. Or if you do, it's not all the time. You shouldn't be starting a new diet every Monday or every month or whatever it is. Dieting is just simply a tool that can help us, improve our body composition for sure. But yeah, when you learn how to diet, it's just a game changer. It's you execute the diet way more efficiently, and you don't have to do it as often. That's the biggest piece.
Yeah, so well said. And I always like to say, if you do it correctly with sustainability in mind, you should spend 99% of your life in a maintenance cruise control like phase. And that is a goal we should all strive for, because not only do we get to eat more food when we're not dieting, but we have more energy, better appetite management, better confidence, certainty, control, and improved relationship with food, the scale, and the positive list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. And I'd say too that, with dieting, I think a lot of people are guilty of just, I already know what to do. I don't need accountability. I know what to do. Knowing what to do is not enough, because we all know what to do. And I always say it as like kind of joking, but it's true. If you don't know what to do, you can hop on Google and Google will tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But it's not that simple. And if it was, then we'd all be successful. So it's learning and understanding the tools and strategies that we provide in the fundamentals program that is going to allow you to be successful for life.
Yeah, incredibly well said. And there's this new word that came into my vocabulary, fits so well, is this word of integration, which is basically helping you ascend from knowing what to do to actually doing it, to eventually being about it, embodying all of the fundamental skills that we do teach you and talk about in the fundamentals program. And of course, we'll link that in the show notes below so you can take a peek out to see if that is an ideal fit for you. But in short, sustainable weight loss is a skill. And in that program, we teach you the fundamental skills you need to build long-term sustainable weight loss for good. So excited that you are really leading the charge there to grow that particular community and to coach the wonderful people we have signed up ready to rock and roll.
So excited.
I know. Yeah, me too. It's been a long time coming. And building off of that, I'm curious to know your opinion. What is one mistake that most people are making when it comes to trying to lose weight and keep it off for good?
Too much too soon. I think as humans, we think that if the process isn't super challenging, then it must not be effective. I think that when it comes to, nutrition especially, we really just overcomplicate the hell out of it. And I don't blame people for this. I was one of those people for many years, but there's so much information out there. And quite frankly, there are so many different approaches you can take that will lead you to weight loss. So that isn't really the problem, or, the problem that we're trying to solve here. It's, as you always say, it's the life after the diet. It's that true maintenance phase, transitioning from your diet to everyday life so you can hang on to your hard-earned results. And so I think what we really need to understand is it's the little things. It's doing them day after day that's going to bring us the best results. And, if you back to like thinking that if it's not challenging, it must not be effective. When you tell somebody, drink more water, focus on your sleep, eat protein, prioritize this, they're like, what? No, but I need something else, right? Or we skip those steps. We skip building those foundational habits and we start majoring in the minors. Well, what time should I eat this? And when should I do that? And it's like, you're missing the point.
Majoring in the minors. Oh, that's gold. I like that. I will definitely steal that and give you credit. But yeah, that's really good. And I couldn't agree more. And I think the way I like to sum up what you said is like, if you want to lose weight and keep it off for good, but more importantly, just like truly feel your best, then, your guiding principle or your mantra needs to be, everything that you just said is so on point, and it's ultimately going to end up in a place where it's boring and you have to embrace monotony. because it's the simple little things over and over again that breeds long-term success and, astronomical amounts of progress.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very good. Well, I'm so excited to have you joining me as a co-host for the future of the 5% Way podcast. And just a quick note as we wrap up this episode for the listeners. So moving forward, as I just explained in yesterday's episode, but I want to simplify and clarify, we're going to really focus our messaging, education, and content around the 4 elements of sustainable weight loss, which includes emotional awareness and management, behavior change and habit formation, positive psychology, self-talk and mindset, and of course, sustainable weight loss nutrition education. You're going to get a collection of, solo episodes as well as joint conversations just like this moving forward. And I know I'm incredibly excited. What's one thing that you are most looking forward to as we really rock and roll here?
With the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm just, I will say one thing I'm really grateful to have you in my circle because you always push me on my comfort zone. So I'm excited to just continue that. I know that this will be definitely pushing me, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And for those of you listening, when I met Micheala and we started, working together and we started hosting our live coaching calls and teaching calls in the community, she was so nervous to lead some on her own. And I think, was it the first one where I actually had to leave you on your own to record, to do it without me even there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
technology issues, and it was fine, but it wasn't my best performance.
And now here we are leading them with the utmost confidence, energy, and all the above, which I know you all can hear in her voice as you listen to this episode. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Tomorrow, we will be launching the actual first official episode of the 5% Way podcast. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode as well as yesterday's, getting to know Micheala more, getting to know more about the show, the change in direction and shift in focus away from the Screw the Scale podcast of mine for the many years before, and are just as excited about the direction that we are headed with the 5% Way podcast, the update, the relaunch, the rebrand, and me having a fantastic sidekick join me for this episode and in the many episodes to come. And I really hope you enjoyed getting to connect with and learn more about Micheala. I highly encourage you to follow her on Instagram. I have included a link to her Instagram profile in the show notes of this episode, and I promise you, you will be incredibly entertained and also receive a ton of fantastic value and education by following her. So make sure you do give her a follow, and her profile or her handle is at Micheala Barsotti. But like I said, that's an Italian handful, a little tough to swallow. So I will link her profile in the show notes below. And before I sign off on this episode, I just want to remind you of this. Sustainable weight loss is a skill. In fact, it's a collection of many skills. And that should excite you because you are able to learn these skills and really advance from a beginner stage to a level of proficiency and even mastery down the road. And we want to remind you that you absolutely can learn these skills and you absolutely deserve to feel, look, and be your best. Thank you so much for listening. Have a fantastic rest of your day.